Welcome into All Things LA Real Estate. My name is PK Knoll. We're heading out to Alhambra, Monterey Park for your October real estate update. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. Alhambra, Monterey Park are basically a value play when it comes to real estate. I highly advise if you're somebody who's been looking, maybe you've been trying to get into Pasadena and the 2 million plus average home price is too much for you. We'll head straight down to Alhambra or Monterey Park, and you might find some extra value. We're going to get into all the real estate numbers. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on month over month, year over year. End of the video, I'm going to break down a few homes that have caught my eye as we try and find some value in the neighborhood. Let's go. We're going to start things off by checking out exactly what the numbers are available in the market in Alhambra and Monterey Park right now. You know, these are some solid neighborhoods. There's three things I look for outside of the real estate, perspective when it comes to possible appreciation with neighborhoods on the east side. We've seen neighborhoods over the past 10 to 15 years just blow up, whether it's Silver Lake, Echo Park, Eagle Rock, especially an average home sale price of 1.3 million. Highland Park's very popular, obviously Pasadena, but these Alhambra, the Monterey Parks, the San Gabriel, the Rosemeads, those are where there's still some value. And the good thing about Alhambra and Monterey Park is they kind of check the three boxes that I look for outside of the numbers, outside of the specific real estate perspective, which is low crime, good schools, and a commercial real estate kind of industry that can attract families, right? So you need to have low crime, pretty solid when it comes to that in Monterey Park and Alhambra. You need to have solid schools, pretty solid comparative to all the other east side neighborhoods. And then you need some type of commercial attraction, some downtown areas, coffee shops, restaurants, bars, all that kind of good stuff. And we have some opportunities there. So I think it's a good value play. If you're somebody who's on the east side and you've been searching for a home, like I said, if you live in, you work in Pasadena or even downtown LA, and you've been trying to purchase a home on the east side and you're getting priced out of some of those other more expensive neighborhoods there, Alhambra and Monterey Park is something I'm going to probably add to my list because there's a little bit more affordability there. Now, we have 35 homes available for sale right now. Of those 35 homes, 11 homes have seen price drops, so 31%. In a normal real estate market, price drops are a huge red flag. Something's wrong with the house. Something's wrong with the tenants there. Something's wrong with the price that it's listed at. But we just don't have buyer demand. People have been sitting for a long time with their homes on the market. So we're seeing, consistent in a lot of east side neighborhoods, over 30% price drops. So, Alhambra and Monterey Park are just on par with that. So it's not the red flag it would be in other markets. The low end to get in the neighborhood right now is $649,000, $999,000. We're going to talk about that home in the final segment of the video. Top end, $2.720 million. Interesting situation going on with that one. We're going to briefly touch on that as well. We're staying very consistent when it comes to our average list price for homes available in the neighborhood. We're at 1.057, 184. So we've been saying consistently right around that number. Last month we did bump over 1.1, but in a lot of months previously we're staying kind of in that mid 1.05 range. Days on market is 58. We've seen 33, 50, and now we're at 58, and that is the telltale sign of why we have 31% price drops, right? We talk about this all the time. If you're somebody who follows along, checks on other neighborhoods, is once you start getting to that 60 is kind of that golden number of when home sellers start to lose their patience, right? They've been waiting 2 months to sell their homes, especially people right now, because if you've been waiting 2 months, it's October. You probably listen to that in August, hoping to be able to get a quick transition before school starts possibly, and you haven't been able to get that done. So, that number getting up to 58 and us seeing the 31% price drops is not a coincidence. If it continues to rise on the pace that it's at, we could be flirting with 70, at least 65 come next month. We'll let you know how that goes. We looked at October of 2022. We had 26 homes sell at 102% clip. So what that means is 2% on average above the list price. That's an important number for two perspectives. Number one, if I'm a homeowner in Alhambra or Monterey Park, there's a lot of key factors, key ingredients towards, is my home appreciating? Now, reality is the buyers are always going to set appreciation what the price of your home is, but there's some key numbers that you can focus on, and one of them is that number, because typically with a competent agent, you're going to list your home relative to the comps that have sold in your neighborhood. And if they're selling over the list price, that shows you the essence that you're getting, a little piece of appreciation. If I'm a home buyer, that's a number I want to look at, not necessarily October of 2022. That's irrelevant to me if I'm a buyer, but I want to look at the current numbers when it comes over the list price, because that's going to give me a good perspective when it comes to understanding if I have an opportunity to gain this house. Meaning, if I love a house that's at $1 million and I know the neighborhood average is 103, I'm probably going to have the perspective to put it 30K over the list price and get that 3% built into my offer to improve my probability of getting accepted. But we're going to jump over to last month where I can make that a little bit more clear with the current numbers that are happening in the neighborhoods. Last month out in Alhambra, Monterey Park, we've seen a little bit of a dip. Unfortunately, that typically happens, in a normal real estate market as you get into the winter months. People just aren't as likely to move this time of year, especially if you're a family and you got kids. You don't want to, be moving, and taking them out of school into a new school after it just started. Also, the holidays are kind of coming up. So that always kind of slows the progression of people making transactions. So we only had 30 last month. It was 104% clip, right? There's the number that you want to focus on if you're that home buyer, if you're that home owner, right? So 4% on average over that list price of the $1 million house. I know I got to probably put 40K on top to kind of cover that aspect of it. So we went from 37 last month down to 30 this month. So we're losing a little bit of inventory in the Alhambra Monterey Park area, which isn't great. It's pretty consistent, on the east side, though we are seeing neighborhoods like San Gabriel and Rosemead, which saw 30% inventory increases. So there's some neighborhoods are starting to get the listings. We actually have a national average of a 2% inventory increase, which is not really anything, but it's a positive note, and we're trying to, draw straws here and find any positive notes we can. But the low end last month, we saw a home sell for 650K. It was listed 650K, sold 650K. So maybe that's an insight if you're looking in kind of the lower tiered aspect of Alhambra and Monterey Park, that there's not a huge amount of demand, which makes sense because that's typically, the division of the home buyers that are having to finance. And when things are 7.38 or 7.5, a lot of those people have been pushed out of the market generally. So top end, we had a home sell for 1.639. It sold 111,000 under the list price. So pretty significant there. It was listed for 1.75, sold for over 100K. That's what happens when we start to see 58 days on the market. Is the seller gets an offer, sometimes it'll be a situation where, the initial offer comes in, somebody offers I'll pay 1.639. It was listed for 1.75, and they make that offer the first open house. And they're like, no, our seller will not accept that. That's not what the home's valued at. And then, you get that call back 6 weeks later, 3 weeks later, or 4 weeks later, and they're like, hey, you still want to buy the house for 1.639. We need to move on. And this is the best offer that we got. Our average for the first time in many, many months, we got it to a 1.00696. So for the first time in many months, we're over $1 million as far as the average sale goes. So the 104% is pretty good. If I'm a homeowner in Alhambra or Monterey Park, I feel good about the 104% because I know, with the home average price getting up over $1 million as well, those are kind of good metrics to know that my home's certainly not depreciating, but I'm getting a little bit of value on my home as I, continue to build my life there. Or if you're somebody who wants to sell but can't because your rate's too good, at least you're probably getting some appreciation off of your home right now. Days on market for those homes that sold was on average 23 days. September of 2022, we had 36 homes sell, 99% mark, which means it was actually selling 1% over the list price last September. Obviously, the end of last year wasn't a fantastic time, but that is a 17% decrease year over year. Went from 36 down to 30. We're seeing we saw that month to month, and now we're seeing that year to year. I'm not too crazy about the 17%. We just don't have the inventory. That's going to be something that's consistent. The worst neighborhoods on the east side are seeing 30% year over year. So 17% isn't the worst. Obviously, we'd like it to be an increase, but it just is what it is right now. Let's go out and check out the neighborhood. Homes that have caught my eye. See if we can find some value for you. Let's go. Homes that have caught my eye. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break down what's the basement look like, what's the bottom floor to get into the neighborhoods look like. So if you're somebody who's kind of been slowly pricing you out of the neighborhood, we're going to give you some perspective as far as what's the minimum to get into these neighborhoods. And, there's a kind of an adage in real estate in general is you never buy the nicest house in the neighborhood. You buy the worst house and then you upgrade it because it gives you potential for appreciation, which, is what it is. There's holes in that argument. But in essence, you need to find a home right now, especially if you're financing, that does have potential to appreciate because you can't go underwater on your loan. It'll screw up refinancing and just cause a lot of problems for you. So we'll talk about PK's top pick. Always going to be a value play. Tell me what the numbers are telling us back so you can go out and get that home that is going to be in the best position to appreciate as far as value goes. And then we'll look at the ceiling. We'll look at the top dollar. We got some interesting stuff to talk about there. But let's start off with the entry level. It's 1025 East Garfield Avenue, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1148 square feet. It's listed, as I mentioned earlier, for $649,999. A couple numbers that jump out: 566 per square foot. Don't have an issue with that number whatsoever. On the lower end, certainly in the 6, 7, 800K range, we see a lot of houses in the $400, $500, $600 per square foot, which I'm very good with. Pretty solid lot size here, 8363. And this was actually a home that had 40-year ownership, so it hasn't been sold in 40 years. Somebody lived with it, paid off their mortgage. They're getting the full suit of this benefits of the home that's probably appreciated. I didn't run the numbers on it, admittedly, but my guess is over 300%. My guess. This house, if they bought it 40 years ago, in fact, if they bought it 40 years ago, let's run the math on it. So 1983 is when they purchased this home. This home was $50,000, right? So quite the jump for these individuals. 12x is probably more realistic. I could look it up if you're interested. Put it in the comments and I'll definitely take a quick peek at it. But this home definitely needs some work. The agent apparently is, who knows what they're doing, but they have no pictures of the home right now. So a lot of question marks as far as the quality of the home. It's going to need some work. If you look into the market around this area, if you bought the home, put in the necessary work to improve it, your comps, probably going to top off right now around 750K. So a little bit of wiggle room, not a ton. But if you're adamant about getting into these neighborhoods, and you're willing to, possibly put in some extra money to make the improvements necessary, even if you do that over time, that's a pretty fine long-term plan, is to, move into the house with the intention that we're going to be here, 5, 7, 10 years. So every year, let's take on a new project. We'll, take out a certain amount of money for that project and make the small developments. So when we do want to sell, down the line, we can start getting that top dollar, and hopefully the neighborhood continues to appreciate, which I expect it does, barring any cataclysmic occurrences in our economy, which certainly could happen as well. But let's jump over to PK's top pick, where I give you my favorite play in the neighborhood right now. I did want to mention last month's home, 2928 Pyrenees Drive. It is still active. It was that home that was listed for 1.198, so a little bit above the average home sale price. The comps we loved were at 1.4. It's been on the market since July. They just did another $6,000 price drop, so it's down $88,000 in total. So go back to September's real estate update and take a peek at that one. I think there's some value there, and it looks like they're going to probably be willing to take a home that's right around the list price at this point. So definitely take a peek at that. But we're going to jump over to Alhambra for 2029 South 3rd Street. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1412 square feet. It's listed for $950K. So you're getting in the neighborhood for less than $1 million. $672 per square foot. Solid number there. The lot size is 5024. And there's a note through the listing as well that the seller is going to be willing to buy down the interest rate. Now, it does take a lot of money to buy down. So let's say, I think, the last I checked when this video is being recorded was, rates just kind of took a small tick down to about 7.38%. If you get that buy down, even 40K is only going to be about 0.25. I'm just ballparking these numbers right now, but, save you a little bit of money. It's a nice sentiment something you can put in to ease the pain of financing right now. It is close to the 10 freeway there, but it's nicer. If you look at this home compared to the other homes in this neighborhood, it is nicer than the other ones. Has a nice yard here, and actually has a pretty unique shower. I like the little bottom kind of cowboy door there when it comes to the shower. It was listed on August 15th, and they've recently increased the price $22K, which is very odd. It's a very odd thing to do. They were listed initially for $928, and they've been sitting for 2 months, and they decided the best move was to raise the price $22K. Who knows exactly what the logic is behind that. Maybe they had an offer that was pending. We have a lot of offers that are pending and going on under contract that are falling out of escrow because, of the market right now. But maybe they got an offer at $950 that was, through contract and it fell out. And now the seller has that number in their mind. Who knows what it is. But do your due diligence. Make sure your agent finds out exactly what the mentality is behind that price increase. If you need somebody to help you out in the neighborhood, reach out to me. Very proficient in this neighborhood as well. But let's finish off with the top dog. Very weird situation going on here. So last month's top dog was 1121 North Hidalgo. If you've been following along, that was the home that was listed for 3.35. We were very interested to see what happened with it because there's never been a sale over 3 million. In fact, this year, the only sale over 2 million was 2.1. So this home was listed for 3.35. They got a little sneaky with how they've approached this one because they took it off the market and then relisted the home for 2.72. So they lowered the price around 600K, but a sneaky way of doing it, right? So if normally you're already on the MLS, you're already listed, people will just do a price drop, and that becomes notified. It becomes alerted to all of the agents, all of the potential home buyers, where if you pull it off and put it up brand new, it looks like a brand new listing. But we'll still see that's still 600K plus over the high of the year. So they're still, trying to throw out a big asking price in that home. But we're going to not be repetitive, go back to September if you want to look at that house. Beautiful house, truly. But we're going to jump over to the next tier, which is a pretty big jump off. Like I said, we don't have many homes selling above 2 million in the neighborhoods here. We're going to go to 745 Metro Drive, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,100 square feet, only 1.350. That is the lowest top dog I'm going to go over in all of the videos. I break down all of the neighborhoods on the east side. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested. $642 per square foot on this home. That's a very good number for anything, in that mid 1.25 plus area. I love the 642. The lot's 6,025. Decent for a home at 1.3, right? Our 649 home was at 8363. This one's at 6025. So I'd love a little bit more room, but it is on the peak of the hill. 2-car garage. The comps, if you look at the comp, there's a home that is 5'4", 2,700, and it's listed for 1.2 right down the street, and this home's listed for 1.35. The description for this home online is a freaking joke. I don't know what this, it's like 3 sentences, and it's like a run-on sentence, and they mention Costco. I try to stay positive in these videos. I don't want to hurt. Basically, I don't want to hurt someone trying to sell their home. But how do you sell something for 1.35 and you can't even write out a description? You don't even have to be creative. Just be, realistic and honest with what the house is. The description's a joke. The photos are trash. Absolute trash. I don't know what's going on. The pricing is a joke as well. Like I said, there's a way nicer house, 5'4", 2,700, the same neighborhood, that's listed for 1.2. Most of the sales in this neighborhood this year are 900K, 800K. I'm not touching this one. If my clients even considered it, I bet, yeah, we can go in if you want to offer 950. But I'll keep you updated and see if I'm dead wrong on this, but I don't think I am. Thank you so much for watching the video. We do this every single month for almost every neighborhood on the east side. We're doing Pasadena, Silver Lake, Eagle Rock, Highland Park, Glendale, La Cañada, El Sereno, Cypress Park. The list goes on and on. So like and subscribe to the channel if you are so inclined. If you're somebody who's looking to purchase a home on the east side of Los Angeles or sell your home, I am happy to help out with you. Reach out to me. You can send me a direct message online, or all of my phone numbers are listed. Even if you're somebody who's hesitant with 7% interest rates, that puts us in the same boat. It always helps to start preparing for future opportunities because you don't want to miss the boat there. We will tread lightly. We will look for value, and we will get it done. I also do a ton of other videos. I get into the schools. I get into, the restaurants in the neighborhood. I get into the attractions in the neighborhood. I do some other fun videos like quick cribs. So once again, like and subscribe if you are so inclined. Have a great day. Be kind.
Yeah.